Welcome to Classic Car Cave. So just by way of an introduction, this video is going to be about the trip I've just taken with my wife through Munich, and then she stayed in Munich and I went on to Belgium to see somebody there, and then on to S&G Barrett in Holland, and then come back to Munich, stayed overnight, and then drove back here to Austria, dropped my wife in Vienna, and then I came back down here to where the garage is. I'll go over basically what the trip was about. It was actually done at the last minute, but I'll go over what we actually did in the trip. So I hope you enjoy the video. As you can see from the, I'll show you now, that's the mileage, that's the range. So as you can see from that, I put that trip meter on there, 0 when I left here. So I've done 3,032.5 kilometers in the last 4 days. We left Vienna on Sunday afternoon. We got to Munich, we checked in, we stayed there that night. I had breakfast early the next morning and left and went to Belgium on the Monday. I went there to see a chap called Steve. He has a really good YouTube channel called D3S Shooter. Unfortunately, I didn't do any filming there, which I was so enthralled in all the stuff that he had and his cars and his vehicles, and we just talked and talked. We actually had a meal. He made a meal for me and everything. It was really good. I was staying in a local hotel 2 kilometers away, and we had a really good chat. He just finished work at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock that night. And we went around all the barns and his buildings and so on, and the part of the farm that he has. It's not a working farm anymore, but what he bought 25 years ago, he bought it as a wreck basically. But it being a listed building, you know, he had to do certain things, but he's done all the work, majority, 98% of the work himself. Unbelievable guy. And we got on like a house on fire, and I just forgot to film, and I didn't really want to use his channel to promote mine. I'm quite happy with what I've got on mine. It's a small channel, and I've got a few people that like watching it, and that's good enough for me. But Steve is much more, he was into fashion photography and all kinds of stuff. He doesn't do that for a living. He actually is a IT or communications engineer. Anyway, he had a video out some weeks ago saying that he had a bunch of stuff. He'd cleared somebody's garage out. A friend of his father had died apparently, and he had a load of stuff, and he cleared it out, and he offered it basically free to people. So if you look behind me now, you can see that this is a mudguard. What vehicle it's from, I don't know. And I've just put it in place. Obviously it's not correct. It would sit properly. It would be square to it. But they actually, apart from surface rust, there's no dents or anything in these. This one for this side's got a nice flared arch here on the back, and one for the other side. Now to build that on my English wheel would have taken days, if not weeks probably, and possibly not even, I couldn't make them anything like to that standard. So obviously, as I said, it's just been popped on there, it's just sitting on there with some tie wraps on it, but it will be put on properly. So I got 2 of those. He also gave me these collection of horns. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. If there's anybody out there that needs a particular horn and can identify what it is, then maybe get in contact with me on davejaguar58@gmail.com, and we'll see what we can do. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll just put them up onto a piece of wood and play tunes on them, who knows. But it was very good of him, and he just passed all this stuff on. Here are, as you can see, are 3 SU pumps. Now these were on the XK150s. Whether they're points, I would imagine they're all points, but I might be able to make a good one or 2 out of the 3, I don't know. There's another SU pump, but this is more like a mini. And I think this here is an air pump. I think that's actually for an air horn, I would think. I don't know if any of these are that way. I think they're all electrical, I'm not sure. But whatever, yeah, maybe it's for that one. Is that it? Oh no, that's electrical as well. Whatever, find out what it does. And we got, as I said, we got on like a house fire. He's a super guy, extremely talented, and we talked about YouTube and so on and so forth, and how he enjoys doing it. And one of the things I said to him was, as you can tell from my videos, I spend very little time editing. I'm a great believer, and I'd rather do the work than do the time in editing, but I guess if you want to get the people to watch it, you have to do extra these days. And I asked him on every episode or every movie or every video he does, what kind of time it takes him, and he was saying on average 12 hours to edit it. Now that seems an awful lot of time. But he does make brilliant videos, so I guess proof of the pudding's in the eating. One of the other things he did for me, which really knocked me out of the ballpark, was he asked me if I had a TIG welder, and I said no, I use MIG and electric. I've got electric welding, rod welding, and I have done a TIG course here in Austria at a professional trainers for 3 days. But when I was there, they had a professional TIG outfit which was water cooled, and you can imagine the cost. It's horrific to buy a setup like that. So I didn't, and I asked him at the time, what would it cost for me to get a bit of TIG done if I needed it? He said, well, one of the students would do it for 5 or 10 euros or whatever, per hour, say, for argument's sake. So I didn't think about having one. But Steve said to me, would you like a TIG welder? And I said, yeah, of course I would, if I thought it was justified to have it. So the next thing, he came with this. I'm just going to go off camera for 1 second. So the next thing, he came up with this box, and lo and behold, a brand new TIG welder. Never been out of the box. Even the torch and all the equipment that goes with it. So all I need to do is get some argon. I think you have to use 100% argon on these. It's even got electric weld on it as well, which I already have, and the instructions even, which I thought was amazing. Now he has a much more professional TIG set up on a stand, and I'm sure he won't mind me telling you, but from what he was saying to me, he does some promo videos because he's so good at videoing and photography. He does a few promos for companies, for tool companies. So he gets some of the stuff as payment or part payment for his videos and his time. And this was one of the things he got, which he already had a TIG, but they gave it to him. And the only thing he was told by the company that gave him it was Tool Mania, I don't know if you're familiar with them, was that he was not to sell it on, or they didn't want it to sell on. So he said to me, I'm not selling it on, I'm gifting it to you, so it's not a sell. You're not selling, you're not buying it. So, which I thought was an unbelievable gesture. So I'm going to return the favour. He has a Stedman SS100 replica from, I believe it's from the late 70s. I think there were only 27 made in aluminium, so they are top end replica SS100s. But he has the Jaguar 4.2 in it, but with the, he has the rocker covers that have got the, corrugated type covers in it. So the newer 4.2 engine. And I've got quite a few rocker covers of the originals, the ones that's on my E-Type and on my XK. So I'm going to get them sent off to him, and a few other little bits and pieces I'm going to do for him because he needs some stickers made and some other bits and pieces. So, but what an exceptionally nice guy. As part of the trip, after leaving Belgium, I had to go to, I didn't have to, but I wanted to go to SNG Barrett in Holland. Now this is a new facility they've got. Apparently it's 3 or 4 times bigger than their original place. And they moved to a greenfield site, which was extremely difficult to find without an absolute update on the sat-nav. It just wouldn't even take the address in it properly in the car. But I found the guys that were extremely helpful, and they taught me into how to get into the place. It's right by the side of an autobahn or a motorway, but it's extremely difficult to get off. Anyway, I got there and they were extremely friendly, made me a cup of tea. We discussed a lot of things, yeah, and it was excellent, and the staff were brilliant. So, the things I picked up there were, I've got 5, as you can see here. I haven't taken them out, but I've got 5, obviously 4 wheels and a spare, and they're 72 spokes, 16 by 6, and we're normally 16 inch by 5, but the 16 by 6 is better because it will fill the arch better. And I have EV or Easy Steer from another company in Holland that do electronic steering for when you're parking. But the nice thing about it is you can regulate it. It's got like it's got a regulator that you can have less or more power to it. And I bought a bunch of stuff that I needed as well. What I also bought was the new spinners this is for the XK 150, of course. The spinners I have are absolutely buggered. So these are the new spinners. But what I do have is this tool here, which was actually made for me by a chap called Lionel. And he makes these for, I think he even does them for the MGs. And he makes this out of 1 billet aluminium. And so I believe it's a, what is it, a 38, I think it says on it, 38 millimeter socket goes on it. And then normally with these spinners, these 2-head spinners, you have to either use a piece of wood that has this silhouette cut out and it's very long and it's so easy to catch the wing or the paintwork that it's awful, or you use a hide or a copper hammer, but inevitably what you do is you damage the ears. So what Lionel came up with, and I have, if anybody's interested, just contact me on davejaguar58@gmail.com and I'll give you his email address and number, phone number. And I think he was making these for about £50, unbelievably good value for money. And what's nice about this is obviously the spinners on these cars, whether it be E-Type or XK150s, have left and right. So obviously they tighten, you know, as you're going forward, or they're tight under braking, not under acceleration, but under braking forces, because obviously the braking forces are greater. So you can see that that goes onto the spinner there like that, and you have a perfect fit, and you can really, and with a long Tommy bar, you can really torque them down. I mean, for that kind of money, and it, as I said, it fits beautifully, so there's no damage to the ears at all whatsoever. So if you're interested in something like that, and obviously for the other side, it works as well. So it's shaped at both sides, as you can see there. Great bit of kit, well impressed with it. But I took this with me because I wanted to check that they were going to fit as they do on my E-Type, because obviously I can't drive the E-Type and the XK at the same time.